their form is really poor. You know, 5 defeats in 6 after a reasonably good start to the season, and maybe be looking over their shoulders now, considering they lost to Bristol City last time out. So for the Chelsea players, it's about keeping the momentum, coming into the side from the cold and having the consistency that the others have shown, and therefore putting yourself in the picture for the bigger games and the bigger tests which are sure to come this season. So I think it's a squad game, we know that, but yeah, when those big games do come around, I'm sure Emma Hayes will have an idea of the way she wants to go. So every time they step on the pitch at the moment, it's that chance to be in her thought process.
Magda Eriksson there, her opposite number. The Brighton skipper is Victoria Williams, who was briefly at Chelsea just before the start of this glorious run. 2012, she had a short stint as a Blue, but Brighton skipper nowadays. Reading have scored a second goal against Manchester United, so it's already becoming a good day for Chelsea. They've got to make sure that the job is done here too. Remember, just goal difference separating them, with United having played a game more. Man City 5 back. A win here for Chelsea would mean 11 in a row in all competitions, going back to the late drama of that 1-1 tabletop draw with Arsenal, as it was then in mid-November. That is actually the same day that Brighton last won, incidentally. And speaking of Arsenal and the sterner test to come that Sam just mentioned, well, it is Arsenal next for the Blues. But this could be a very handy day if Manchester United don't sort that one out. Chelsea could open up a nice little points gap rather than goal difference. Let's hope so. They met in mid-December. As Sam mentioned, it was a 1-0 win. One of only 2 1-0 wins for the Blues this term. Otherwise, goals have been racked up. Sam Kerr in shot there got the goal on 21 minutes. That was the difference on the day. As one of the many changes, Lee up top for Brighton gets us going. Nasty conditions to be playing in. Just wonder if that might rear its head in terms of, you know, an awkward back pass or a long ball forward that catches the gusts of wind, Sam.
Yeah, really difficult conditions. It looks like the ball's going to be swirling around. Going to have to try and keep it on the deck, and you hope that doesn't make it into a real difficult game and a bit of a leveller. You want to get that early goal, I suppose, to settle yourselves down and not be reliant on maybe substitutions late on. I mean, it's great for Emma Hayes to have the strength in depth on the bench, but a day like today, you don't want to be calling upon G and Fran Kirby early to get you out of a hole. So let's hope the conditions don't, you know, spoil the game as a spectacle as well.
Good to see Erin Cuthbert getting a start, having been absent recently. Player good enough to play in any side, but Chelsea have been missing her recently. Pulse was the only ever-present starter in the WSL until she sat out the Villa game. In the middle of the park here on the ball now, the German. Started every one of the first 10. Forward by Eriksson, Williams with the header out. And here's Jessie Fleming. Sam and I watched her make her first WSL start in that Aston Villa match not so long ago. You may have been with us on the fifth stand-up for that. She looked very composed and assured in central midfield. It's a tough side to break into, given the amount of games in the different competitions. Emma Hayes is juggling her various balls very nicely, I think. Everyone getting game time. Deeper role for Sophie Ingle today. Nice idea just needed a tiny bit more power, and Bethany England might have been in. One or two regulars not involved at all today. And Catherine Berger and Millie Bright having a rare game off, and that's why Engel is here in this position now. Just seeing on some of those long passes, maybe the wind actually playing a part. Got to judge it slightly differently. I wonder about any long lobbed efforts. Maybe it might be interesting today.
Can see that the Brighton setup looks good though from the start. 4 across the back, then definitely a 5 from midfield, and then Leedy, so striker, and it's forcing Chelsea to go a little bit longer, actually clip the balls in towards Kerr in England, and as you say, Ben, the conditions are really difficult for that, but I think it's partly the wind and it's partly the way that Brighton have set up, very compact, 5 across the middle. It's not going to be easy to play through them.
Megan Walsh was the regular keeper. Started all 7 before Cecily Fiskerstrand just come in on loan from Lillestrøm. She will have played with Guro Reiten. Oh, that's a good ball. And it's an early bit of work for Walsh too. It's a corner. It was very nearly an opening goal.
That's a really bad mistake, and it turns into a very good chance for Kerr. England's delivery is perfect, and it's a really good save actually to completely redeem herself. Kerr pokes it goalwards, doesn't have to have great direction. You think if you get anything on it, it's going to be a goal. So yeah, credit Walsh there.
It's quite a reflex flick out of the leg, otherwise that is 1-0.
I thought England maybe was just going to take the touch and go for the chip herself. The far post would have been completely open.
Cuthbert delivers the corner, and Kerr has scored. 5 minutes in, Chelsea lead already, and it's Sam Kerr against Brighton again.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of these headers recently. I think Bethany England at Aston Villa, and her marker Lee is just not strong enough. It doesn't really have to get up the ground, does she, Kerr? But the direction is absolutely perfect. Beautiful kiss off the crossbar into the back of the net, and the perfect start.
And she is into double figures in terms of the WSL. Her 10th league goal of the season, so she now has pulled 2 clear of Fran Kirby. I wonder how much, in your experience there, Sam, of being in a dressing room and being a greedy striker, as most of you are, how much will that be a thing? Kirby on 8, Kerr on 10. How much do you think?
Yeah, I think it will be, considering how good Fran Kirby has been for the club in the past. She'll want to be #1 in those ranks, and Sam Kerr's done it throughout her career at the highest level, so she'll be coming to a new league expecting to be right at the top of the chart. So I think there'll be a healthy competition between the two, but behind closed doors, I'm sure they've got that determination to emulate the other one.
In WSL terms, Bethany England has been the top scorer for the last 2 seasons. I mean, 3 forwards there that would grace any side for sure. And Brighton already up against it here.
Shame, because I thought they started well from their perspective, and obviously it's a really bad goalkeeping error, isn't it? Under no pressure. Chelsea hadn't really been in the Brighton final third. Good opportunity for Kerr, and obviously they can't recover from that moment. A perfect start for Chelsea.
Defending to do here, though. 7 in the box. Brighton going for it here. It's awkward, and the decision is corner again. Good luck. Probably educated guesswork, that, to be fair. Brazil was offering the short option, but it goes deeper. It's good. It's 1-1. That's a really good delivery. Brighton are level with a corner of their own. and it's Aileen Whelan who's put it in.
Well, you knew they were in big trouble from the delivery. Look at the pace on it, but the way it swirls as well in the wind. It's perfectly flighted given the conditions. I think it's tough to judge. Maybe you got to say, has Carly Telford got to come and help out there? It's well into the 6-yard box, but don't take anything away from the header. Whelan gets up brilliantly and powers it home.
Just too strong for Bethany England. It was half on the wrong side of her, but as you say, strong, and an excellent response from Brighton. And I think we might have seen a bit of conditions there, but that, if you put a ball in that good, it's begging to be nodded in by someone, isn't it?
And as it's an in-swinger as well, that's going to favour the attacking side. So difficult. Wind swirling around to...
Well, chance here. Didn't quite drop for Bethany England. Cracking 8.5 minutes. Best way to keep warm on a day like this is to run your socks off, and they both are. It's a heck of a pace this game's begun at, and a goal at each end already. Lee. Well done. Jessie Fleming just tidying up there. Brighton dropping off. And that very disciplined 4-5-1. You can hear Hope Powell shouting it about discipline. That shape has been good, but Chelsea trying to pick through it again here. Oh, it's another Bethany England header. This one loops over. You never know, do you, with the swirly conditions.
Yeah, another half chance. Lovely position from Erin Cuthbert. That's the type of movement you need to make, but behind the midfield line, in front of the defence, little angles. Also a good example of just moving it quickly side to side. Make sure those outside midfield Brighton players have got to work ever so hard to shift across. That's the key, moving it quickly.
Cuthbert's moved it here to Jessie Fleming. Nicely done. It's tight, there's a lot of bodies in there. It's a comfortable save for Walsh. Well, Eriksson just out of position, having chested it down, but gets back well. Lee draws the challenge from Leupolz, and Brighton have a free kick.
Terrific play from Lee, exactly what you want from lone front player. Keeping hold of the ball, winning the free kick, alleviate any pressure that's building on your side. Looks like it's going to be a difficult game, but already the key could be just putting balls in early, especially because Chelsea got the two front players and both very much amongst the goals, and with headed goals as well.
Wasn't a bad ball in. It's Brighton had its come off, and Williams has gone over to fetch it and keep it in. Spirited start this from Brighton, I think. They're 9th in the table. Incidentally, out of the 12 in the WSL, they're a couple of points ahead of West Ham and Aston Villa, but they have played a couple of games more, so they need points. They're actually generally pretty good defensively. You can see they have decent organisation here. It's been scoring that's their issue. That's only their 8th goal. So under a goal a game on average, just. Another free kick coming deep. It's awkward again. Kerr got the head on it. Quickly back on with it. Another cross, and Carly Telford safe into the gloves. And off goes Magda Eriksson. That's a good ball. Brilliantly taken by England, and a wonderful pass as well. I'm presuming Sam Kerr was onside, no flag. Two really good passes, but suddenly Brighton are all back and in shape again. It's a shame. Cuthbert on the slide. It's just kept in by Walsh. Disappointing cross in the end. Whelan got the flick, Eriksson got the clearance in. Good communication as Aaron Cuthbert comes in to steal in. Hannah Blundell, very much part of the furniture, has been here for all of these fine years. Jonna Andersson cuts it back to Kerr, who would expect to do better, I think, from that. She did not get hold of a shot. An excellent cross.
Yeah, really good challenge, I think, coming in from Whelan, just as Kerr pulled the trigger. Maybe just put her off somewhat, but I thought that was a really good position from Andersson, really aggressive. High up the flank, making sure that Brighton shifted around. Couple of good passes. It's been played at a really good pace, actually, both sides. It's been a really good start to this game. High energy, good quality in the passing.
You've got that, it's like extra dimension to the passing from the back for Chelsea today with England there. More likely, I think, to hit a penetrative killer ball, perhaps, than Millie Bright. Blundell on the chase. And she's got there. Cargman for company into England and Fleming. That was well read by Cargman. Maya Letitia here, right back. She is from Guernsey. She is not related. She's probably sick of telling people this. Emma Hayes quite vocally distancing herself from the rumours of moving into the men's game management. And as usual, when she speaks, people listen. It's generally gold standard stuff. Ingle clipping one in. Right, and coming in off the flank to put the header off target.
Yeah, another header. Unable to work Walsh, but Chelsea just working out, I think, how to get joy against this kind of regimented Brighton back nine. I think Erin Cuthbert looks like she is going to hold the keys, considering she's come central now, actually, but she started wide on the right-hand side, but I think with the freedom to go anywhere, and she's got the intelligence to get in those pockets of space where her teammates are having good joy finding her right now. Brighton's been a little bit quiet, but I think that's because of Anderson's position's nice and high on the left-hand side, and she seems to be another outball for Chelsea right now, but just settling down after a pretty helter-skelter start.
Ingle looking for that pass again. Here's Koivisto, new arrival from Gothenburg in the week. Good use of the body, Sophie Ingle making sure. Oh, come on. That doesn't need a chat, does it? Little nudge to say out the way, please.
22, Aileen! 22, that hole in between, yeah? That hole! Not too high now. Oh, now you can. Go on, go on, go on, Lee!
Right, and dropping in short here. Just forcing it there, Ingle. Trying to poke a hole between those lines. Brighton defended it well, and they've got plenty coming forward on the counter here. But not to be on the end of that pass. It was in between Lee and Ellie Brazil. No foul on Kerr. Not that she saw it that way. That lead didn't last long, did it? No bolts into Eriksson. Anderson. Eriksson again.
Actually looks more of a diamond, the midfield, doesn't it, with Cuthbert centrally, Leupolz at the bottom, Fleming and Wright on either side. I think Erin Cuthbert's certainly playing as a number 10 in behind the two strikers. Here she is again now.
Nicely worked between her and Brighton. And a good ball as well. They want handball, they nearly got a goal. Bethany England, it's a corner.
Yeah, definitely looked to strike a hand, just popped up there. That's inconclusive, and it's really good in those type of positions, Bethany England, on the swivel, very two-footed. It's unfortunate that's goal-bound, I think, if it doesn't get the nick. Don't think Walsh is going to get there.
Heading for the roof of the net, I think. Same corner from which the Blues took the lead. See if Cuthbert can do it again. Walsh has parried it and either curled out of play, or is there a nudge in them? Either way, it's Brighton's ball. They defended it better than the last.
Must have been out of play.
There can't have been a foul in there.
No, there was no blue shirt near the goalkeeper, just a bit high for Eriksson, swirling around. She was unable to turn it home.
Lee nods it down, but only for Cuthbert. Always busy in there in Cuthbert. He's back in action with half an hour in the cup in midweek as a sub. Lee carrying it well, completely surrounded in blue, and had to wait a long time for anyone in yellow to come and join her. Flag up here.
A terrific play again from Lee, though. Exactly what you want in this setup. Really assured and safe in possession. Had to wait for support, and fortunately the visitors flagged offside. But it's a really good watch at the moment because they're very disciplined. It's quite a straight line, that midfield, and I think Erin Cuthbert's movement, her cleverness, looks to be the key for Chelsea. There's no one really dropping in and picking up her subtle little movements.
She's just right on cue there, taking up that position in between the line of 4 defenders and 5 midfielders. Anderson high and wide, good control on the chest. Fleming. Bethany England was looking for a cheeky little chip in behind there. One back well, and here is England. Not enough on the cross for Kerr. Whelan back to Williams. They've won it high again. Instant effort from Bethany England. From that angle, it would had to have probably been a lob, really, which is probably what she was going for, Sam.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I've seen her strike balls beautifully from, you know, that kind of inside right position on her left side, so I know she's capable of it, but did have Sam Kerr in support, but took it early. Another save that Walsh had to make.
Fleming finding Hannah Blundell. Cuthbert not quite able to take the ball with it. Tried a little flip-flop thing there, Lee, didn't quite work. It's interesting how often Anderson is higher up than Brighton, including now. Stayed in. Hooked back towards the box by Leupolz. For a minute, I thought there might have been a handball in there. So, Danik Kirkdijk just about getting it back for Walsh. That's it, the ref. Nowadays, the game has to be stopped for that. 10 wins in a row in all competitions for Chelsea, and 20 matches played this season, 17 wins. That is mightily impressive. 1-1 draw with Arsenal, the early season draw. In fact, it was the opener, wasn't it, at Man U? And the only blot on the whole campaign, really, was the FA Cup defeat, a real shocker. No one expected that. 2-1 at Everton. An early exit, an unexpected and early exit, but already in another cup final, Europe ongoing. A corner here. They'll try and re-establish the lead against Brighton.
Not sure if it's the fourth official, but the referee's getting good communication, and probably necessary in the driving snow.
Corner is deep. Jesse Fleming with the spin and the shot. England just trying to get stuck in, and Walsh comes to grab.
Yeah, Williams attacked that well, swirling around, looked like England was going to be favourite, but defender made a good challenge.
Don't forget, on the fifth stand-up later this evening, when it is the men's turn, the late Sunday kick-off. We're still getting used to all these odd times. It's a 7:15 kick-off at Bramall Lane, but on the fifth stand-up, do join us from 6:05. We've got a reporter at the ground and the usual Matchday Live team ahead of Sheffield United versus Chelsea, as Team Tuchel looks to make it 10 points out of 12. Yet to concede as well. Mind you, could have played for 5 hours against Burnley and Spurs and not conceded. Here is Jonah Anderson again at advanced position. And it's a good ball. It just wouldn't drop for Cuthbert. Walsh is in a bit of a pickle. It's somehow hacked out to safety, and it's another Chelsea corner. But Anderson's causing problems, Sam.
Yeah, Brighton's such a clever player as well, coming in field, comfortable there. Pass around the corner, bit of a mess made of it in the end by Walsh. It just arrived at Erin Cuthbert a little bit too quickly for her to adapt her shape, her body shape, and force her attempt goalwards.
Well, here she is on corner duty. Oh, it's a... I thought that was Eriksen's header, maybe just mistimed it. Blundell. Nicely done, back out to the corner taker Cuthbert. Eriksen is still in there. Lost count. The amount of corners Erin Cuthbert's taken already. There have been that many in this opening half hour. There have been a lot of comfortable games this term for the Blues. This has not actually been one of them. Hopefully it will become so. Leupolz onto it quickly. Cuthbert. deep cross. Too deep, as it turned out. They are generally very well organised, aren't they? Brighton, I mean.
Yeah, been impressed. Obviously, vastly experienced, quality manager. And that's the challenge, I suppose, for Emma Hayes, isn't it? I don't know if she'd have turned up today and said we're playing a 4-4-2 diamond, or she just adapted at the start of the game when she's seen how Brighton have set up. But I'm really impressed with the way that Chelsea have gone about it as well. I think that Erin Cuthbert is proving problematic for the opposition, but they're a tough nut to crack. You know, 5 players across that midfield, compact, shuffling across. You know, Chelsea are going to have to work hard if it is going to be another 3 points today. But they are on top since the Brighton equaliser.
Eriksson with the good ball. Bethany England couldn't make anything of it. Brighton's throw. They lost 3-0 at Bristol City last weekend, having been hit for 7 by Man City the game before. Playing here like a team better than that. They had a 0-0 at Birmingham 3 weeks ago to kick off this new year, but otherwise, you know, tough spell. Their last win, November the 15th at West Ham. A full-time score from the WSL. Man United have lost 2-0 to Reading. That was not in the brochure, and that is super news. So if Chelsea will end today top whatever now, but if Chelsea can win this, 3 points and better goal difference, it'll be above Man United. Managed, of course, by a former Blues captain in Casey Stoney. Nicely moved here. England, lovely football. Just until that final pass, that was nice and incisive from Chelsea, and it's got to be moved at that pace when you're dealing with a setup that has so far been very well organised and has plugged the holes quite impressively. The setup being micromanaged by Powell on the touchline, but to good effect. That's surely an arm, surely. Yes.
I wonder if Emma Hayes is going to be the one that tells them the final score for Manchester United at half-time. They'll know. One of them will look at their phone, or one of the substitutes will pass on the good news. Or does Emma Hayes use it as a motivational tool at half-time? It's a bit early for that, maybe.
I wonder if any of them would be getting their phones out at half-time. I should think Emma Hayes would frown upon that, and rightly so. But yeah, you're right, someone somewhere will know. Someone who's not playing.
Yeah, maybe get to the players. They'll be aware that it was the lunchtime kickoff.
One of the coaches with a wireless. Out by Eriksson. Bit of scrappy fight ball, head tennis going on in the middle. Eriksson to tidy up. And Sophie Ingle. Ingle has played in but one of the WSL games this season. Not always starting, but tough job for Lee. She's done quite a lot of it very well so far, but at times looks a little isolated. They do have to shuffle across quickly. Here's Anderson. Coming through to the central core where it's very crowded. Blundell to Lupoltz. To Cuthbert. Looked like Jonna Andersson was going to take on Letizia. Indeed, she does in the end. Crisp. This, very nice cuff, but I quite like that pass. No one else picked up on the possibility of it happening, though. Got a cheeky little dink through the middle.
Yeah, you can hear the bench encouraging more movement, I think, as well, telling Erin Cuthbert just to come centrally and maybe just pull away from the ball and just make sure she gets into space where she can orchestrate things.
Brighton initially trying to poke it through for Sam Kerr.
Good chance for her when that rebounded back to her left foot. Would have been confident she could guide it towards the top left-hand corner. Frustrated she hasn't worked the keeper there.
Not scored a league goal yet this season, Guro Brighton. Did last year. A couple of goals in 5 minutes against Arsenal in the League Cup in October, and then scored that epic quarter-final at Manchester City too. All 3 of her goals have come in the Conti Cup. And likewise, Ingle there with that ball forward. Scored a couple of long ranges. One of them good, and one of them outrageously good. But back doing the day job on the cover here. Central defence for the Blues today. It's actually ended up being a pretty quiet half for Carly Telford. You do wonder if maybe, like Sam mentioned, she might have been a bit bolder to come for the corner possibly, but it was whipped in, and it's almost like the wind caught it and accelerated it. May well have been beyond her before she got there. Fleming finds Hannah Blundell. It's going to drop here for Andersson. That's definitely worth a hit, but hopefully a better one than that.
I just thought she might guide that rather than go for power. Given the conditions, the wind, could it have just been bent back where it had come from? Way off the target. She's definitely had an impact in an attacking sense in this first half. I think that is the key. Moving it into the wide areas, trying to get 2v1s, but doing it quickly. I think Brighton and Erin Cuthbert have recognised that and tried to play her in early.
She's defended well there, Andersson. Clearly scoring goals is not generally the job of a left-back, and it's certainly not something she does, in fairness. That was the finish of someone who's got 4 Chelsea goals in 4 years, and they were all actually in the first season for her, so it's been a while. Yet another Blues corner with 8 or 9 minutes to go in this first half. It was a fairly frantic opening 10-15 minutes. But Chelsea establishing certainly more control, looking the dominant force you'd expect them to be since then, but it was a bit frantic early on. Chelsea head on it, and Walsh got a piece of it. There might have been a block in there too as Whelan hacks it clear. That was close.
Yeah, they seem awfully difficult to defend against, these deliveries for both teams. Just kind of hangs in the air, doesn't it? Is it Ingle that muscles? Yeah, it's a good header. Good clearance off the line as well, but it's probably, what, 4 or 5 set pieces at either end that have caused real problems.
Megan Connolly, I think, with the block before Walsh could get to it. Here's Andersson again. Kerr. Let's tidy this. It's got to be slick and crisp to move Brighton around for the hole to come. Just forced a bit there.
Yeah, I'm sure Emma Hayes and her coaching staff will be thinking about how they're going to create more chances in the second half against this shape. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Chelsea setup. I think they've played pretty well. Also, you know, it's given them certain problems. I just think she'll be thinking about patterns of play where people move to free up space. Maybe Erin Cuthbert just going and standing in a position. The two strikers can play further apart to allow some space for the midfielders to break into. That's what they'll be thinking about at the moment, rather than ripping up this shape, because I think they've played well. It's been a good performance, but Brighton have defended really well throughout this first period.
That's Whelan down there with an issue. Get an early half-time team talk. Any opportunity? As they stand there, I bet they're jealous of Emma's warm outer layers there. Don't want to stand still for too long. Not when you're wearing shorts. That's exactly what you're talking about, isn't it, Sam? How to move it around them, around that organised shape.
Yeah, it can be something as subtle as someone just standing in an area to draw someone out of their position, and then someone moves into it. She's been doing it for long enough, Emma. She'll have the answers, or she'll have the scenarios that she wants to see played out. Whether it has that success, then you start thinking about your options from the bench and maybe tinkering with the system. But I think within what they're doing right now, they'll get opportunities.
Well, Whelan will have to go off to come back on again, on the presumption she does come back on again. I think it was something off the ball, so those can be an issue. Some added on time for that. Seems okay. Hope Powell doesn't miss a trick. Already calling for the referee to allow Whelan back on. She wasn't forgotten. Lou Bolts, the new arrivals at the Blues. Anderson helping it forward to another new arrival, or attemptedly so, Sam Kerr, but it's cut out by Kirkdijk, Dutch defender. Brighton have Danny Bowman on their bench, maybe better known to fans of Chelsea's women's side as Danny Buet. Left the club just before the silverware started coming, actually. Regular for the Blues till 2014. Blundell.
So we've got 2.5 normal, 5.5 order.
Just wanting Cuthbert on the ball, I feel, in that position she's taken up. Kind of want to get it into her more, and you feel that could be key. She's gone searching a little for it right and left, more to the right as she did a moment ago. You can see her just loitering in that gap.
Yeah, and Bethany England's position as well, really wide on the right-hand side, probably with an eye on just leaving that space for Erin Cuthbert. So, yeah, no reason to panic right now, but you do think when you look at the bench, especially the forward players, Harder, the form that she's been in, Kirby, you can force the issue if it remains at 1-1, maybe put 2 wide players right up there against the opposition's fullbacks. So that's something that you could think about at the moment. The midfield is narrow, but I think they've had quite a lot of joy.
Important tackle coming in there. Letitia had mistimed that, she was in trouble, and Kerr was nearly away. Eriksson. A minute left, but probably a good couple to be added on. Should be. And Chelsea regain the lead before the interval. Eriksson here. Anderson will have the chance to cross. Ellie Brazil in the way. Another Blues corner. Half started with a goal from one.
Ball's going up in 30 seconds.
Towards Eriksson on the penalty spot. Brighton players almost getting in one another's way. England got a touch. It's hacked clear.
I don't think a defending side has got the first touch from any of the corners so far this afternoon. It seems to have been Chelsea head at the Brighton end, and obviously the Brighton goal came from a set piece as well. So they're well stocked back there, but they all just seem to be retreating into the 6-yard box, Brighton, and allowing the Chelsea players to get the momentum and the run on them.
3 added minutes, we're into the first of them. Anderson with the Chelsea throw here. Box it off, Lee. Can only be in one place at one time. Just trying to cut off the angles as much as possible. Brighton to Anderson. Anderson with another good-looking ball in. It's really dangerous. It bounces and it's Kerr. It's kind of just behind her at an awkward height. That was always likely to go more up than anything.
Anderson again, yeah, real space down the left-hand side. She's had a lot of freedom to deliver. That was her best ball of the game. I've just thought there was another touch in it there for Kerr. There was probably 7 or 8 yards of space. Could have brought it down and then assessed her options.
I guess you don't necessarily expect to have it, but yes, you'd hope she'd have the awareness. You're right, there was no one that tight to her. Halfway through stoppage time. Leupolz. Well, she tried the reverse ball for England. The obvious one was the pass to Kerr. I don't think Bethany England was expecting that.
Yeah, maybe didn't realise that Letizia was in a very good position as well. I think if that goes into Sam Kerr's feet with pace and her touch is assured, definitely gets a finish away.
Fleming tidying up back there. Ingle keeps it moving. Blundell. Williams on the cover, stops Fleming, turning that into something. Koivisto, the new signing, back to a new captain, Williams. A lone forward player with the manager in your ear all half. Sure you've experienced that plenty, Sam. That should do us for the first half. 3 added minutes have been played, and not for the first time this season. Chelsea finding Brighton quite a tough nut to crack and a tough side to put to bed. They've won a lot of games by a lot of goals this season. They were in front early thanks to Sam Kerr heading in the Cuthbert corner, but Brighton very quickly went up the other end and did exactly the same thing. Aileen Whelan nodding in for 1-1. And at Kingsmeadow, the half-time scoreline is Chelsea 1, Brighton 1. Now, before we go through some of the main points of action during this game, we're just going to go back 24 hours and take a look at how the under-18s got on yesterday. They were away at West Bromwich Albion.
Hall out to Fellows, holding a very wide position. He's got a couple for company. Neatly done by Fellows, the give and go, and he's got it back as well. Really strong here. That is an excellent goal. All the work of Tom Fellows. Humphreys outmanoeuvred. He couldn't make a challenge then. That is an excellent opener from West Brom. Thomas. Dangerous cross. Looking in a bit of a tangle there. The whistle has gone here with the assistant telling the referee something, and Josh Brooking has been sent off. Straight red. The suggestion may be a stamp off the ball. Chelsea down to 10. It's not even half time. Joe Haig was stolen in well. Excellent acceleration, and he's picked out Ben Elliott, who's found the net. 1-1. Lovely run from Haig, huge credit to him. It's a perfect cutback for Elliott. The 10 men are all square. Haig on the march again with options. He might go it alone, he has, and he's scored a super goal. Made the equaliser, now he's put the Blues ahead. Such lovely balance when he runs. What a shot at the end of it. Comfortably cleared. Charlie Webster, all the time in the world. He's picked out a brilliant pass, and how about that for a touch from Ronnie Stutter for 3-1. That's a wonderful goal. Onside, on target. What an effort this is. The 10 boys have come from behind to lead. And what a fabulous first youth team goal for Ronnie Stutter. Such composure. He's taken it brilliantly. Fellows was on the charge again. And he's continued his run again, and he's gone down. Penalty. Elliott fouled it. West Brom have a spot kick with 10 to play here. Cleary from 12 yards. And in it goes, just. West Brom 2, Chelsea 3. Cleary just about squeezed it past Sami Talamkani.
So, a 3-2 win for the under-18s as they continue their 2021. The PL2 boys have just got back in action recently as well, having had a very long wait. But let's get back on WSL duty here. 1-1 between Emma Hayes' side and Brighton, with the Blues looking to go all 7 clear at the top, ideally. And this was indirectly what made the goal. A mistake from Megan Walsh, then nearly the goal. A great save from her. Sam.
That's probably the best chance, other than the goal, that Chelsea have made. And it's all of Brighton's own doing, really. So that shows you how well they've done in the first half. And this is obviously the opener. Not enough of a challenge on Sam Kerr, but another really good headed goal. We've seen a few in recent weeks, you know, especially from her. She scored with her head in both these fixtures now.
Erin Cuthbert has been getting a lot of practice on those corners. That was the first of them. But this was some delivery as Brighton hit back for the corner of their own. And that's Aileen Whelan getting in ahead of Bethany England to make it 1 each.
I think it's really difficult on a day like today to judge it for the wide players and the set-piece takers to get the right pace trajectory. But that was just an unbelievable delivery. I think we knew as soon as it left their foot it was going to be difficult to defend. Whelan does well to outmuscle England and get Brighton level. And Yeah, they've put up a real fight in that first half. I've been impressed with Brighton, you have to say, and you have to give the visitors credit.
It's down the left seems perhaps more productive than down the right. That cross found its way through. There was a bit of a shout for handball, and Bethany England, nice little swivel and shot, and it took a nick on the way through. Otherwise, I think we're in agreement that was probably going to be 2-1. It's another corner here. There's a Eriksson header. I think it was Megan Connolly on the line, stopping it from being 2-1. I'm not sure that Walsh would have had it. Not as many chances carved out, as Sam has mentioned, as you might normally expect from the Blues. They only beat Brighton by 1-0 last time, and they're finding them, well, oddly, perhaps a tougher nut to crack than others have. They've conceded 10 in their last 2 games, but you wonder how, given how well marshalled they look at the moment. Now, as we look ahead to this evening's men's game, it is, of course, Sheffield United away. You can join the Matchday Live team from 6:05 here on the 5th Stand App. Let's have a little reminder of what happened. Not the last time they met at Bramall Lane, because no one needs to see that again, but the last time they met, which was at the Bridge earlier this season. It didn't have the best of starts, but it ended up just fine.
Chelsea welcome Sheffield United to Stamford Bridge, with the Blues looking to maintain their excellent recent run in the final fixture before the November international break. Blues' impressive defence has been the big talking point of late tonight. They're aiming to record a 6th successive clean sheet. Clever reverse ball. Bulldogs cut it back for Berger, and it's been flicked in by David McGoldrick. And there'll be no clean sheet for Chelsea today. And McGoldrick, who scored twice against Chelsea last season, has opened the scoring with just 9 minutes played today. Good ball over the top for Kovacic. Cutting it back for Tammy Abraham. 1-1. Nicely worked goal. Abraham scores for the 2nd time here this week. And Chelsea back on level terms at the midway point in the first half. It's a good ball in from Ziyech as well. Oh, and Werner's hit the bar. And then it came back off low. Looked out for Ziyech. Good ball in from him, and there's Ben Chilwell round the back to turn it in for 2-1 Chelsea. Ben Chilwell, 2nd in a blue shirt. Looked in by Ziyech and glanced in by Thiago Silva. His first Chelsea goal. And surely that wraps up 3 points.
Picked up a lot of the second ball, second half.
Ziyech through the middle. Is this Werner's moment? Oh, that is so unlucky. It would have been a delicious goal. Oh, Werner, maybe this is his moment. You never doubted it, did you? As soon as it dropped to Timo Werner, he was always going to bury that.
Almost absolutely brilliant, that final ball.
Terrific stuff from Chelsea, but the response from Frank Lampard's team, absolutely superb.
Towards Ballack, but it was so easy from that range. Almost a slow motion goal, and United just let him run. Could they make it a free kick? Lampard looking like he's sizing up the shot, and it's in! Somehow got past Kenny, denied a moment ago by the keeper's brilliance. This time it's gone through the Irishman. Chelsea have the lead. Nicholas. Wilson! This is Cassie and Richards. Tracing that to Carvalho, and suddenly it's opened up for the big defender. If he can find a pass, that's not a bad one, is it? Andrei Shevchenko! What a finish! Absolutely fantastic!
Langley to warm things up. Has worked so well for Chelsea. Here's Wilkins. Now, what a shot that is! Oh, the goal! Oh, my word, what a goal! Well, Wilkins Wilkins has run the length of the field and he's kicked the ball to the other end of the field. A tremendous volley there by Ray Wilkins. And what about that for a shot? 3-0.
That was wonderful. Ray Wilkins on a filthy old pitch with those deep goal mouths. What a volley, what a player, what a bloke. Miss him very much indeed. Sheffield United then this evening. Sam Parkin, we've got so far a very good start, very promising. Thomas Tuchel, he said I'd rather have had 9 points out of 9 when I asked him in midweek, saying you'd have taken 7 out of 9 when you arrived 10 days ago. But what have you made so far of the Chelsea team? He obviously goes for the wing-backs. Hudson-Odoi reinvented, Alonso getting game time. It's interesting how it can turn around for good and bad, can't it? People like Chilwell and Zuma were always playing and now seemingly, well, not out of the picture, but, you know, it changes around, doesn't it?
Normally happens, doesn't it, when a new manager comes in, it becomes a little bit of a clean slate and you see some of these stories developing, so it's up to the players when they get handed that chance. Alonso's done brilliantly, hasn't he? Callum Hudson-Odoi's not had great game time for whatever reason. Looks reinvented, doesn't he, as a wing-back, and obviously is more as a number 10 the other day. I suppose just having that control in games, maybe. I remember being at Palace with you, Ben, back after the restart, and just too many games on a knife edge, and you felt the opposition were going to get in. That seems to not be the case right now. So I think it's just managing games the better. I suppose making sure those central midfielders don't both bomb on. I know that they're not that type of player, but make sure you've got the insurance of having those guys there, and one of the wing-backs probably helping out defensively as well. But yeah, just speaking to you earlier, Ben, I suppose the next bit to come is the front players to really start firing, isn't it? Given the control of that game at Tottenham, the half chances created, just still waiting for a bit more from the front players, a bit more consistency, and then we could be talking about a brilliant end to the season.
Perfectly described, I think. Yes, Tuchel very much into what he calls a double six, i.e. Jorginho and Kovacic, and it's really interesting. Although he has rotated all his more attacking players to have a look at all his options, as he absolutely should as a new guy coming in, it's interesting to note that he has kept with, obviously, the keeper, that same back three, and the same two in front of them. So that six sort of defensively minded, with Jorginho and Kovacic being those two, that double six as he calls them. That's crucial, isn't it? And Kovacic has been brilliant. Jorginho, we know he's always been a big fan of. He tried to sign him a couple of times. It's interesting to see. Maybe in certain games, N'Golo comes more into the picture, but suddenly a guy who's been as brilliant as N'Golo Kanté has, he's got a fight on for his place, hasn't he? Yeah, I'm sure he'll get his chances. The player I left out probably a minute ago was Mason Mount. His attitude, Ben, I think, after what will have been a difficult month for him, I would say. It's been a difficult few months because he's got criticism from outside the club, not within the club, obviously, because everyone loves what he does and knows what a brilliant professional he is. But I think to produce those performances says everything about his attitude, especially in that Burnley game where I thought him and Callum were far and away Chelsea's best players. And I think that just underlines what a brilliant young man he is, Mason Mount. You know, not to sulk when he was left out. Thought he was top quality. And again at Spurs, you know, I thought his drive to get forward, do the right thing, superb. So yeah, even though we're maybe not going to see as, you know, an abundance of academy players thrown in like we did for obvious reasons a year ago, I think we're safe in the knowledge that we've got 3 or 4 now in the first team that are there to stay. Absolutely. Speaking of the academy, let's have a quick check in case you missed the action live on the Fifth Stand app on Friday evening. It was Arsenal away for Andy Myers after 49 days without a game. Ridiculous because of COVID issues, both at Chelsea and at other academies. Started really well. Tieno Ballo got the opening goal there. That was 10 minutes in. Reece Nelson was playing for Arsenal and, to be fair, was excellent. And that was his free kick, although Tommy Langley and I weren't quite sure about whether wall and keeper had lined up right there. This was a lovely little move that ended with Marcel Lewis, who was absolutely brilliant on the night, putting Chelsea back in front very quickly after that Nelson free kick. But annoyingly, by a nasty couple of deflections. A great effort from the debutant keeper, Wadey, to keep it out. Unfortunately, there with 9 minutes to go, Patino got Arsenal a point. But they could have gone top with the win there, but they have still got the PL2 boys games in hand on all the teams around them, because that was their first game of 2021. But difficult, disjointed season for them, the reigning champs. But a great game, and more to come on the 5th stand-up from the PL2 boys, and more to come from the WSL any minute now, although they're coming out now, a little tardy. But, how are we going to work this formation then to pick holes in Brighton, Sam?
I wouldn't imagine Emma Hayes will change things now. That said, there's not been great chances created in open play, which will be a concern for her and her coaching team. But I think, you know, different little patterns, little movements within the 4-4-2 diamond, which I think is that they've lined up in, and cause them problems. But yeah, I just think as well, against this type of shape, if you be really aggressive with your 2 wide forward players, if they were to change shape, that can just turn the tide a little bit. And I think when you've got Harder, Kirby, those 2 in particular, obviously you've got G as well, but I think those 2 that I've just mentioned, if she hasn't got the personnel to go to a different shape out there, that could be an option. But I didn't see a lot wrong with that Chelsea performance. I thought it was pretty good. I think you just have to credit Brighton, who have come with a really good game plan and carried it out for their manager almost perfectly. And sometimes let's give credit to the opposition, because I thought they were very good.
Absolutely. In terms of really good chances from open play, to limit Chelsea to what? A couple of them in the half. That's unusual. You don't see that very often, and you wouldn't necessarily expect it from a team who are 9th in the division and winless in a very long time. Not far off 3 months since Brighton won a game in this competition. Sam Kerr might need to do it again, having scored against them earlier in the season. Goal was the only goal of the reverse meeting. The early opener here, but quickly cancelled out. Ten straight wins in League and Cup and Europe across the competitions. The standards are high. It's an elite group of players, as Emma reminded us in midweek when she said, why on earth would I want to go down in standard? I wonder if we'll see Anna Blundell getting forward as much as Anderson did in the first half. That's another thing maybe we could see.
The other way you could approach it, the later the game goes, if it is still level, do away with the defender, just leave 3 back there, really push your wide players on. Just have the 2 in the middle of the pitch. So don't think it's necessary right now, but obviously options for Emma Hayes as the half wears on, just to give Brighton something else to think about, because they dealt pretty well, you have to say, with the Chelsea shape in the first half.
No doubt about it. Excellent chasing back from Bethany England. Work rate there. Eriksson to Ingle. Keep seeing Brighton dropping in there. Too much on that pass. Eriksson will deal with it. Chelsea skippers started 12 of the 13 games. Eriksen only at Reading when she came on as a sub. Did she not start? Generally settled back there. But we're seeing a bit more rotation, certainly of late. With the midweek games as well, Emma Hayes has mixed it up a fair bit. Perhaps a bit more than usual. Fleming gets out the way, Leopold strikes it, Brighton. Into Kerr. Tight angle.
Good chance. Sam Kerr Brighton with nice awareness into her path. That touch was brilliant. Great bit of close control to take himself away from the defender and open up the target, but just couldn't steer it towards the far post. Two players well placed for the cutback.
Should be squaring that, no?
I just think it's quite a difficult pass on her right foot. If it's on her left foot, it's more natural to cut it back. And yeah, obviously she's a goal scorer. Probably felt that it was the angle to steer it to the far post, but didn't get direction.
England, one of a pair in the middle, would have had a simple finish if she had been able, but you're right, it was sort of a little bit too much inside for a right-footed pass, slightly awkward. That's a lovely touch to find Kerr on the charge. Tries to cut that one back, it is cut out, it's another Chelsea corner. What a beautiful weight of touch. Was that Jonna Anderson with the ball? Brilliant, whoever it was.
And unfortunately, her touch, Kerr, just a bit heavy, because again, they were brilliantly placed. Chelsea midfield players arriving in support, but didn't give herself an opportunity to stand it up towards the far post.
Well, it's 4 and a bit minutes into the first half that Chelsea struck from a corner. Deep from Cuthbert, it's another wicked ball in though. Ingle had a swing. And is sliced well off target. Yet again, Sam, that's a ball that finds its way to the attacking side from a corner.
Yeah, I think Letizier's maybe wanting a free kick there. She actually attacked that one pretty well. So yeah, maybe just avoided Chelsea getting a meaningful attempt on the target, but it's been a good start to the second half, in control once more.
You were right, and possibly tweaking something in having that effort at goal. Oh, Cuthbert's brilliantly made that hers. And now she's won the free kick. Fouled by Emily Simpkins. See if the Chelsea head can be found again. Just flexing the knee again there, Guro Brighton, after that shot. Obviously giving her a bit of jip. She's there, she's an option for the delivery, excuse me. In from Cuthbert. Ingle. Kerr stands it up. It's going to drop for Cuthbert here. With enough time to size up a lovely half volley there. They're all screaming for a penalty. Not the first to be waved away by the referee here. A handball shout in the Brighton box.
Couple of half chances in there. Ingle didn't fancy taking on the strike with her left foot. Cuthbert didn't catch her attempt. I haven't seen it again, obviously, but didn't feel there was a penalty there. Don't like to see them given for that. Ricocheting around, may well have struck the arm, but Brighton defender wouldn't have known anything about it.
Eriksen. Leopold's just dropping in. Cuthbert again. Ambitious ball. Overhit as it turned out. Let's just take another look at this. Did the Blues have a case? Cuthbert on the volley. Well, it hit her arm, but you can't be giving those. You're absolutely right.
Good appeal, though, wasn't it?
It was.
6 or 7
in
players
unison.
In unison, yeah.
That can be enough, can't it, sometimes?
Yeah, there was a free kick awarded in the first half, and all the Brighton players appealed, and it went on and it went on, and then the referee gave the decision. So those little margins worth working for.
Quickly cannoning up like that. That was the sort of VAR we're giving in the Premier League early season on a regular basis, and they've sort of thankfully calmed down on it a bit because it was getting silly. That's a great ball. Ingle on the switch. Anderson has Kerr in front of her, Brighton and Fleming in field. It's the latter of those. Still doing a pretty good job of keeping Chelsea largely, not always, at arm's length. Chelsea aren't doing anything right, although that pass was a bit on the short side for Fleming from Leupolz. It's a sloppy one. And these are the moments that Brighton will play for. Got Vanessa Kagman, who we've seen nothing of as an attacking force in this game yet. Now they're doing their appealing again, Brighton. Started every game, Kagman, their top scorer with 3 goals. New arrival from Everton, or relatively new anyway for this season. We've not seen anything of the number 10 being a number 10 in that sense, as Brighton haven't really had the ball in those positions. Free kick given this time. I hope Powell didn't enjoy the decision. Brilliant hearing the chatter on the touchline. Brighton chipping it in, and Walsh gathers comfortably. We'll be at the hour mark soon, with her high expectations, and rightly so. Emma will be thinking about possible tweaks, either to those who are out there or something from the bench. Reminder, plenty of changes made today already, with Carly Telford in goal, Hannah Blundell there, Ingle at the back, Jessie Fleming into midfield, and here they come. Double change. The first incoming is G. Always plays one way or another, didn't feature against Aston Villa, in fact, otherwise an ever-present G. It'll be interesting to see what position exactly she takes up. Jessie Fleming going off. Fran Kirby also coming on, by the way. There she is. Couple of goals behind Sam Kerr now in WSL terms. It looks like it's going to be Kerr and Kirby, is it? Oh, Pernille Harder is also on a treble change. England off. So, 3 arguably even bigger guns on. The Blues look to really make it a great day in table terms, with, in case you missed the earlier news, Manchester United losing to Reading. Here's Kirby, straight to the action, likewise G. Kerr and Kirby, with Harder in support and G, and they're all involved in this attack, and just came to Fran Kirby perhaps more quickly than she expected, actually. Had no time to stick out a foot properly and control it. So Brighton off, as well as England and Fleming. Confirmation of the changes there.
It looks like the same shape at the moment.
Was G going to play left wing?
Just
left side.
Brighton's midfield role here, just slightly left. Looks like Cuthbert's just come back into that right-hand side of the diamond. That's my take on it. I'll tell you the front permutations in a minute, but I'd imagine Kirby will probably be the one that would float behind Harder, and maybe Pernille Harder will play behind Kerr and Kirby.
Teasing ball from Ingle, cut out. Plenty of time. Brighton at the moment limiting Chelsea and doing what, in that sense, what almost nobody has been able to do this season. Didn't create a ton in the win over Man U, actually. Generally speaking, things have been comfortable since the 4-0 at Villa, 4-0 with Tottenham, and the cup win over West Ham was 6. That Man U game was the last league game they conceded a couple to Man City in the quarter-final of the cup. Harder gets it back. And it will be a throw rather than a corner. Pernille Harder fresh from the midweek hat-trick. She's approaching double figures in her debut Chelsea season now, thanks to that. Most of the goals have been recent, actually, not just that hat-trick. Scored against Spurs, Villa, Man United. Relatively recent games. They've really not got even that out ball, have they, Sam? Brighton.
No, it
you
looks
think
like
they're just digging in now. That's a long time to dig in, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a point would be a hell of an achievement for them. Still big chunk of this game to go. Chelsea pressing. Like I said, I don't think there's too much of an alteration in terms of the shape, but let's see if this new look Chelsea in terms of the personnel can have any more joy, because 15 minutes into the second half, can't really think of too many chances. Just Sam Kerr's raids down the left-hand side, maybe. One cross shot, which had to be stopped by Walsh, but they need to improve. They're going to take maximum points. What you get now as well, you get that, I suppose, freedom that G brings the side, because she's already popped up in different positions. Such a versatile player.
Here she is, right on cue. Sneaky little pass into Kirby. Leopold's available. Might be worth a hit, this.
Well done, Aileen. Good girl.
She does, but Eileen Whelan just coming out to close it down, and it's miles off target. We're going to see Libby Bantz here for Brighton. She's going to replace Emily Simpkins. Just trying to earwig on the tactical chat. Looks like taking up the same position. Just an extra bit of legs, I guess. Lee got the head on it. Solid challenge from Cuthbert. But Cargman stood firm. New signing Koivisto with the throw. rare and, as it turned out, fleeting moment of Brighton being on the ball in Chelsea's half. Carly Telford has had a very quiet hour. Third game in the WSL for Carly this season. Played in the Man U draw. And clean sheet against Aston Villa. She had a pretty quiet evening then, but made one really good save. As with the men's side, it's a difficult job keeping a talented group happy. You've got 17 or 18 top players. Leupolz. Still feels like there's tons of time to go, but equally it always feels like once you get to 70 that you're running out of time quicker. I don't know why, maybe that's just me. I always feel that when you look at the clock. 63, you think, oh, there's ages left, but 7 minutes from now it suddenly seems like it's the end of the game.
Didn't feel like that when I was playing and you're 1-0 up and just fixated on the clock. Seems to be going so slowly, but if anything, they're looking even harder to break down now, Brighton, you have to say. So we'll have to wait and see if there's any change in the system. It looks like the same one right now. Fran Kirby's the player playing behind the two strikers. They played slightly wider, I would say, in the second half. Maybe just, I thought Cuthbert's position was a bit higher, but it hasn't been to any great effect, to be honest. And yet you have to say, done really well defensively. There's not a great deal of ambition. You don't expect there to be. They haven't, I suppose, been as cute with the ball. They had a couple of little spells of possession in the first half, but nothing really after the break. Chelsea have completely dominated the ball, but it's not amounted to chances right yet.
Obviously, we don't see a great deal of Brighton. I find it odd that they would be where they are in the table, given the level of organisation they appear to have here. You think that would be enough to get you far more points than they have got, but you do obviously have to do it at the sharp end too. And keep a team with as many attacking qualities as Chelsea quiet for this period. They've got an attacking throw of their own here. Williams with the flick on. Leupolz clears. It will be a corner though. I think it went just out of play, did it? Kaufman's going to come across and take it.
Yeah, big moments, got to concentrate. Last thing you want to do is lose the point that you've currently got, so, or give yourself a mountain to climb in the last 25 minutes. So we've seen their threat from set pieces already today.
Deep from Kaufman. Oh, it's good, and Bantz round the back. Couldn't control it. Good job that she couldn't control it.
Wouldn't have had to, I don't think. Maybe just steer that goalwards. Tough skill, but she was completely unmarked. Just open up her body, punch it back towards the goal with the left foot. But
yeah, and with enough bodies in there, you never know, it could easily cannon off people, and even if the shot's off target, it might turn into something helpful. The last touch there was off Hannah Blundell, but apparently not spotted.
Good shape again, Libby, shape again. Well done.
Not a fan of cliches, but I used one in the first half. I'm going to say it again. They are a tough nut to crack here, Brighton. That's helped on by Kerr. It's a big ask for Blundell, but she's nippy enough to get there. Chelsea need to up this ante and somehow move it a bit quicker through what is a very well-organised Brighton defence. And there it is, into Kerr. But her cross was not into Kirby, sadly. Kirby now from the pass from G. It's another corner, this time it's Chelsea's, and there's a little more than a quarter of the game left. And it's still 1-1, as it has been for some time. In comes the cross. Sniper. Game stopped as a result. I can only wonder if there was maybe a knee in the back. Treatment required by the sounds of it. looks like Kirkdijk. No, it's not Kirkdijk. But they'll have a breather here. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's G. Chips it in here. Let's just have a look. Still not seeing it. Really, is to clearly something in the small of the back, but odd to have caused perhaps that much pain, but clearly it has. And captain, former Blue, Victoria Williams, just having a kind of timeout team talk here with her players. There she is. They've done it very well so far, no doubt about that. Maren Mjelde on for Chelsea here.
Number eight. Needs to go off. Number 8. That's it. Halfway line.
Melanie Leupolz has come off. I wonder. Well, no, actually, she's been told she's supposed to come off, but she hasn't yet. What's going on here? Mjelde on. Looks like Whelan's okay.
Must be Blundell off, is it?
Mjelde straight into the action for Hannah Blundell. Necessarily, I mean, I know she starts more often there in that position. Necessarily say she's that much more of an attacking option as a right back than Hannah Blundell, but we shall see. We've ended up here, Sam, almost with, I hesitate to say a first choice Chelsea side because it's not absolutely set in stone, the 11, but in theory, it's a more first choice 11 on the field now than we started with. Brighton, I know they've done nothing with it there, but just having a bit more of the ball in the Chelsea half, which might actually be useful for the Blues for moments like this, because they're not back in shape and organised. Sam Kerr, heavy touch. Maybe a tired touch, or is that too easy a thing to level at her? It looked it.
Those opportunities have been so far and few between, really.
Therefore, you've got to make something of it, haven't you? Actually running at a back four.
Throughout the 90 minutes, there's been no space, and they did commit a few bodies forward there, so it felt like a good chance. Used it poorly. Here again, this is better. More space.
So fleeting. G into Kerr. It'll be another corner. But yeah, you almost want Brighton to come on because of that very reason. You just haven't had those moments where you've had Sam Kerr, or indeed anyone, just in space, running at people. It's just generally been that bank of 4 and 5, quite close together. A low baseline and a lot of corners. Erin Cuthbert, let's have one of your better ones. It's almost in towards Kerr, laid back here for Anderson. And Mjelde having just been introduced. Last player back. Engel alongside her, Eriksson there. It's really, if you're talking probable first choice 11, you're only now missing Millie Brighton Berger. Harder, almost got away from her. Another misplaced ball from Sam Kerr. Every second counts. And Visto taking every second she could there. She leaves it for Williams to clear. Nearly took out Tom, the cameraman. And there we go, we're well into the 70s now, and it suddenly feels a little bit twitchy, this. You just get used to them scoring so many goals and winning so many games and playing such slick football, and Brighton simply haven't allowed them to do it. 20 minutes is plenty of time. Here's G. Nicely done. Into Cuthbert. Harder wanted a little toe poke pass through, I think. Anderson, the overlap option. Back it comes. Bolts with the pass that was meant for Harder. Kirby dropping in. We've seen plenty of this. But this is where Brighton will be happy for Chelsea to have it. That's the plan. Well, they cut it out, and then G cut it back out herself. It's still at arm's length mostly, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, there was a good pass two minutes or so ago, G into Cuthbert, and I think you said, Ben, she had to play Pernille Harder. Could have probably gone first time. Even when she took the touch, she still didn't look for the pass. And they're the moments, really, because G had got it beyond the midfield. Then that next pass has to be bang on before you get the finish away.
Worked that well. And Carly Telford could not use her hand. She had to come out. It's a good job she did. That was a really awkward moment, that. It was one of those right in between of should I or not. It's a nice little third man running thing going on there. Visto, the player concerned, after a little layoff from Lee. Now, they got players up.
It was in, mate. It was in.
Trying to get back quickly now, though. They have done. G aware of the need to make the pass happen quickly. Anderson in towards Harder! You are joking. How has that not gone in? Off the post and dropping for Walsh. Fractions, Sam, fractions.
Brilliant football, and what I will say is that's an unbelievable attempt. She thinks she scored. She's on the stretch to direct it towards the far corner. It's brilliant skill, great technique, deserved the goal. Unfortunately, the ricochet is perfect for Walsh as well and doesn't land at the foot of Kerr.
The balance to elongate yourself in midair like that, and then the delicate toe touch.
Split open by G's pass as well. It just tempted Kirkdijk away from her marker, Harder. That's why she had the freedom of the box, but great execution with the finish.
Thankfully, the Bantz pass there for Koivisto wasn't a good one. She's pushed her wide, but she still got it. 14 plus stoppage time, and it is still 1-1. Koivisto here lays it off for Lee. And it's a good job Magda Eriksson came charging in there with a brave challenge.
No.
It's a good game, this. Two completely different mindsets, but a really, really interesting contest to watch, and it is still up for grabs.
They worked that opportunity brilliantly for Lee's strike. Good challenge coming in, but yeah, 1-0 behind, I would have expected this from Brighton, but they're actually starting to take risks at 1-1, and it does feel like there may be a sucker punch here for Chelsea. It's just got that feeling about it. They've been so good defensively. You never know if they were to get one, though, Chelsea, they could run out, comfortable in the last 10 minutes, but Brighton having a good spell, showing a little bit more belief.
And they brought on Rihanna Jarrett, who's just gone and stood next to Carly Telford. Straight swap up top, it's in towards her! It's in! Smash and grab from Brighton. And if you were worried about Chelsea at 1-1, be very worried now. Brighton have the lead. Well, 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 it's another corner. Telford came and didn't get enough of it. Pure and simple. Did Rihanna Jarrett foul her at all? No, she didn't, in fairness, I don't think so. Although Telford has ended up in the back of the net, Sam.
I think it's Connolly with the delivery. Yeah, and there is a bit of contact there, isn't there, from Jarrett? I don't think it's enough, and it's just another wicked delivery, same side. Left side, in swinger, whipped in with pace. Have to say that Telford is not going to be best pleased that that's ended up in her net.
Wow, you would have got, I don't know, 500 to 1 probably on both Manchester United and Chelsea losing on the same day at the top of the WSL. United beaten 2-0 by Reading. And now Emma Hayes, whose side are on, remember, the longest unbeaten run there has ever been in the WSL. A new record set with the win at Villa. It's 33 now, that ongoing record. It's in serious danger. At the moment, the big winners today, apart from Brighton and Reading, are Man City and Arsenal and so on. Here's G, who has looked dangerous and probing since she's come on. This is a test you do not often see. Manchester City 1-up currently against Arsenal, those two meeting. So it could be a very interesting day of twists at the top of the table. So dominant, so good, so often. But so needing a goal or two here. And he might have it. You think that happened just after that Harder chance off the post, didn't it, at 1-1? And such small margins, Sam, but you just don't see this Chelsea side in this position very often. 10 minutes to go, not just not winning, but losing.
That was a really good chance, I thought, for maybe Anderson to just take that in there, her chest, and would have had the angle to get a left-footed strike away. Lovely pass from Ingle. And yeah, huge minute, wasn't it? Harder hitting the woodwork, and then you just did sense it, didn't you, that Brighton was starting to take one or two more risks, and you see it so often. Back to the wall effort throughout this game. And they've tiptoed their way in front, and a big test of Chelsea's character now. I don't think this has been a really poor performance by any stretch of the imagination, but a test now of not only the spirit, but the composure when they get into the final third as well. Have they got that coolness to pick the pass and get the finish and get them out of the mire?
Just not a side, of course, that are used to having to chase a game, though. That's the funny thing about it. Right, the cut back here. Bant's got a piece of it. You think how well Brighton were defending the 1 point they have. Now the preciousness, if that's a word, of all three that they've got. Really something to battle for. Extra adrenaline required probably for the defensive effort as Chelsea up their own, and they have to. 9 minutes plus stoppage time. What a scoreline, a real headline in waiting this. Mjelde, and still Maren Mjelde. Anderson couldn't quite bring it down under a spell, and then got the touch. Leupolz here. Wonder if anyone had a Reading and Brighton double today. I doubt it somehow. G. This is upset of the season territory, this. Ain't no mistake about it. But it ain't done yet. Nicely done. Oh, Kirby from Anderson. Attack is kept alive. In it comes. Walsh has pushed it out. It's going to be a siege, folks. Kerr. No.
It's tempting as a striker to take the attempt on there, but maybe just position herself, Kerr, where she can take that ball in on the diagonal. That was luck more than judgment, I would maybe suggest, from Walsh, but lands in a lovely area, her perspective. And it's not too often you see this type of display, and I've enjoyed it today. I thought it's been a good game. Brighton's organisation been excellent. Of course we didn't expect this. Doesn't happen too often, but put themselves in a great position. 7 or 8 minutes remaining.
Lock on now, Trent. Lock on. Good. Go on, Rick. Go on, mate.
Jarrett poking it forward. Leupolz stealing in. You want Brighton to have some players forward, ideally. You then need G and Co to move it quickly while they're out of position. If memory serves, it was Birmingham, I think, January of last year, the last defeat in league terms. Kirby in with the challenge, and it is Chelsea ball, because I'm sure it ricocheted off the Brighton leg. Leupolz. Anderson can't get past Connolly for the cross. Nicely done, fed through to Leupolz. G is there. No angle for the shot, tried something delicate in towards Pernille Harder instead. It's away by Williams. Cuthbert now. A rare and unusual test of Chelsea, desperately needing a goal, ideally 2. I think we'll take 1 now. Gee, that's a lovely turn. Anderson and Kirby, it's so tight. Gee, wonderful chance. Williams with the block, it's just not happening.
Work it really well there, Anderson. Fran Kirby's looked lively last 5 minutes, tiptoeing around Brighton challenges in the box, trying to tempt that challenge to come in, but that's great awareness. What a block from Williams. Makes herself big, actually. Really good block.
It's expecting goal there. It's one of those moments where you think, net bulge, but no. Kirby. All the main artillery on the field. Cuthbert. It's not a bad ball. I'd expect someone to be attacking that space. Kerr. Too much on it for Anderson. What did I say last year? I keep thinking it's still 2020. It was January 2019. And it was Birmingham, incidentally. The last time Chelsea lost a WSL game. It's an incredible record, and it's in serious danger. From in front as well.
Yeah, and you wouldn't say it's complacency either today.
No, they've not. No, they've not been.
No, I think the intensity's been there. Some below par performances maybe in the front areas. Not had huge joy, but I don't think it's been for a lack of endeavour or anything like that. So it's good. They wouldn't have wanted to lose it at home against Brighton, that's for sure. Wouldn't have expected to. So
Kirby here does well to keep the ball at her feet. Eriksson. Chance here. Harder, it's a tight angle, and Williams is there with the block again.
Brilliant touch, lovely take, opens up the chance on her right side. Very good with either foot as well. Just that extra step, wasn't it, allowed Williams to come in. It's not a criticism, I think it was needed.
Just all those little flicks like that at the moment, they're just dropping Brighton's way. You say maybe they've earned their luck, and fair play. It's a bit like watching one of those frustrating games when someone like Sam Allardyce brought a team to the bridge and just dug in and closed every gap and blocked every shot. Even blocking the cross. Oh, Bance has missed it. G. Nielda. And that's taken the nick off G. That'll be a Brighton ball. It should be. Two and a half plus stoppage time. They will be desperate out there. I should think none more so than Carly Telford. Seen the awkwardness of corners for both sides to deal with defensively here. Maybe you get a sight of a ball coming in to your area. It's a really strong wind, and maybe it's just done her a bit there on the whip and the movement of the ball. Either slowed it down or sped it up or something.
It's played a huge part in the bearing of the game. Not going to make excuses because it's been a brilliant effort from Brighton, but of course it's affected the outcome, hasn't it? The weather, bit of a freak, the second one. First one probably doesn't get scored unless it's a day like this as well, but if it ends in defeat, you have to say this is a job brilliantly done by the away side, stopping the array of Chelsea Chelsea talent in forward areas wonderfully well.
Connolly down, more clock eaten up into the final minute of the 90. And she is the highly unexpected match winner in waiting, Megan Connolly. A, because she plays for Brighton, and they were such underdogs here, and B, because she did it taking a corner. And they're about as hurried to take it as you would expect them to be. Fair play. It's not up to them to get on with it, it's up to the referee to make them get on with it.
Let's go, come on, let's go. Come on.
Danny Kirkdyke launches it long. Anderson. Harder for Kirby. Kirby looking for Kerr. Cut out by Kirkdyke. We're into 4 minutes of added time and Chelsea have another corner. We've had 3 goals from corners. Let's make it 4, please. Still a long time for, especially when you've got a corner. It's good from Cuthbert. It comes all the way through for Harder. Standing it back up. That's Nielda. This is G. Cuthbert again. Another block. Kirby dinking it into the mix. Oh, penalty, is it? No, it's gone the other. Oh, flag up. Flag up. So I'm getting excited here. Everyone appealing for everything. Me included, apparently. Cogman down.
Well, very well have been, though. I think Nielda just about to pull the trigger. Newport's. There was it. There's a little big mess in there. Maybe the free kick was awarded, but that probably would have been a spot kick, but the whistle had gone.
I thought there was a foul on Newport's, but yes, perhaps the whistle had just gone. Well, credit where credit is due. They have been heroic at the back today. I'm sure Emma Hayes will, with her high standards, expect more from her players, but that has to be said first and foremost. Any time an underdog gets a result against a heavy favourite, people often say, oh, well, the favourite must have been right off it, and the underdog must have played out their skins. But I'm with Sam, I don't think Chelsea have been off it. That's a late challenge, referee, and it has been called as such. Painful one on Eriksson. 2 of the added 4 played. They just have simply... You think when a team, Sam, sets up to defend like they have done, the chances are they might even do it 98% of the time, but there'll be a couple of moments where they don't, and that'll be the moment. But, but they just haven't. They have blocked everything.
Absolutely. There was the one mistake from the goalkeeper, Megan Walsh, before the opening goal, but she's been very safe pair of hands since then, and you're right, continued in the same vein throughout the game. It's not been pretty on the eye at times, but it's been a really good away performance, you have to say.
And they will be crushed if Chelsea can pinch an equaliser here. There's surely not enough time to score twice. And it's cleared again. Anywhere will do for Whelan. It's only a minute left now or so.
It's a poor challenge, wasn't it, on Eriksson? She did well for her, getting straight back to her feet and trying to get the free kick taken quickly.
Yes, Bant's only booked for it. It was a naughty one, that. Cuthbert, back to G. Ingle leaves it. Kerr to Kirby. Ingle and G. It's patient, it's accurate, and it's Pernille Harder. Where's that gone? Heart-stopping stuff in the Brighton box. A couple of touches that were unwitting there, I think. Half a minute. Sam Kerr. And Walsh takes it and falls on it, and they are nearly there, and the run is nearly done for Chelsea.
Just no runner at the near post there. Eriksson had gone to the centre of the goal. Harder had pulled out. Unfortunately, just not enough bodies in there. Walsh at the second attempt. Delighted to clutch the ball.
4 minutes played. It's bouncing and it's stayed in play. That's perfect for Brighton. Hope Powell saying, come on, ref. One last launch forward. Sam Kerr's got the flick on. It's put out by Kirkdijk. All eyes on the ref now. These Brighton players are going to celebrate like they've won the World Cup. G. G again. Closer to 5 added minutes than 4 now as it's clipped into the Brighton box. Walsh comes, didn't get it. The composure to try and pass your way out from the back as Kagman wins the throw.
We have 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left, apparently, so a minimum of 4 has become 5.5, so the officials doing their best to help Chelsea. Imagine they're so nearly rescued.
Kerr just waiting maybe a little bit for the ball. Could you have nipped round the left-hand side of the defender and the goalkeeper and just poked it goalwards? Again, probably a bit fortunate to get away with that, Brighton, but not Kerr's afternoon.
And it's not Chelsea's. The run is over. It is a sensational headline-making win for Brighton. Behind early, 9th in the league. They came back to level and they pinched it at the end through a freakish goal going almost straight in from a corner. It is an extraordinary result on a day where Manchester United have already been beaten by Reading. Well, Chelsea have been beaten by Brighton, and nobody but nobody saw this coming. 33 games was the unbeaten run. It is over 2 years since anybody beat Emma Hayes and the Blues in the WSL. Well, Brighton have done it today. An extraordinary achievement and an absolutely cracking effort from them. Chelsea knocked and knocked at the door, but they couldn't get through. Brighton winners by 2-1. Extraordinary. Let's have a quick recap of the main moments of action then from this game, and set pieces were a big part of it, Sam Parkin, starting with Erin Cuthbert's corner here early on.
Yeah, perfect start for Chelsea, and you would never have believed what we were going to witness. Thought they were going to be difficult to break down, thought that the conditions may play a part, but when that goal goes in, you think it's just going to be a run-of-the-mill afternoon at home for Chelsea. So really good header from Kerr, but that's definitely as good as it got for her, because passed up a few opportunities in the second half.
And then Whelan nodding in there, devilish delivery.
Really was. I thought that was probably the outstanding delivery of the game. You almost sensed it was going to end up in a goal when it left her foot. Brilliant delivery. Tough for Bethany England, but muscled there, and a really good header on the end of it from Whelan.
G, one of many sent on by Emma Hayes to try and change it. It would have been a brilliant goal. It deserved to be for Pernille Harder.
Yeah, Kirby, G, just trying to prise open the opposition, but that was the only real occasion they were able to. Not loads of chances. They didn't have to rely on the goalkeeper too much, but that was very unfortunate.
And then that, the winner. Connolly's corner, Telford's glove, Brighton's win.
Yeah, so you can see that the win plays havoc, but maybe Telford's just that starting position. If she's further over towards the near post, she's able to deal with that. Easy to say it now, but let's give credit to the delivery from Connolly.
So, Brighton, the shock winners here. We hope there won't be any shocks at Bramall Lane later on the Fifth Stand app. You can join us for Match Day Live. That is from 6:05 with the gang, ahead of the 7:15 kickoff as Tuchel and the men's first team look to make it, 10 points out of 12 under new management? Let's hope so. Let's hope what we've seen at Kingsmeadow is the only nasty Chelsea shock of the day. Fair play to Brighton. They've won a memorable victory here, and the history-making run in the WSL for Chelsea ends at 33 games, beaten by 2-1 from Sam Park in a night. It's goodbye.
Chance for Kerr. Delivery. Really have to get up the ground.